Hi, my name is Paul Finlayson. I have a Substack called Freedom to Offend. Uh, Very medium, a little over 2,000 subscribers, and I think about 15% are paid. So somewhere in the middle, maybe high middle of Substack. I'm sorry I just kicked my two dogs out of the room. Um, our house is being renovated, and anytime someone comes into the house, they go into guard duty all you know all 40 pounds of them combined. But what I want to talk about, and excuse the barking in the background, is how Substack could be so much more and how their marketing model is just so antiquated and honestly sad. And the title of my little talk is that Substack is leaving a lot of money on the table for themselves. They are leaving a lot of money on the table for um, small and medium writers. They are stopping excellent writers who are have yet to be discovered. You write beautifully, but have very few subscribers. They are stopping them from ascending to something greater. Right now, our world is certainly turning digital. I'm one of the few people, I think, on the planet who still subscribes to a couple paper newspapers. And reading is going down. I teach at university, and I taught there. Well, I was fired for calling Hamas Nazis, which offended. We're not sure if it offended the Nazis or Hamas, but I had a 15-year university professorship, lecturer career uh, destroyed, which I write a lot about on my Freedom to Offend, my Substack. But that's not what I'm going to talk about today. But as I was saying, students don't like to read. People don't read. The number of books that people are reading is declining. We're becoming a post literate or illiterate society. And uh, I think that Substack could fill this space so beautifully and get people reading online. And to some small extent, it has, but largely right now, because of its poor marketing, it's failing. And I've taught marketing at university for 15 years, worked in marketing in the field for about 15, and have written about 4 marketing textbooks. I'm not a world leading expert. I'm not claiming to be, but um, it's a position where I feel some comfort in, and I'm going to take a little bit of authority and talk about it, and talk about the 10 major reasons why Substack is leaving money on the table for both writers and for themselves, and how unnecessary it is. The first point is they have a subscription only model. Subscriptions are not are There's a lot of subscription fatigue out there. They're not popular. People are tired of seeing these charges on their credit card that they've been going on for the last 3 months or 3 years. A lot of companies online rope you into subscriptions. Um, it's just not popular. And there are stats that say that people are very cynical about the idea of online subscriptions. Substack insists that this is not a model for revenue generation. This is the only model for revenue generation. And that is incredibly naive. And their reasons for saying this are that if they go to any other payment models, no one's suggesting they scrap the subscription model, is that they assume that there will be cannibalization. So they have a very fixed pie mentality. And this is, it's sort of very Trumpy. He's very uh, fixed pie, I win, you lose. But it, it, it goes against economic theory in which you're trying to, increase the overall size of the pie, and improve the life and the revenue of both the corporation, Substack, and its writers, who largely are just generating, the best of them are generating some side gig income. I went over what I make, and it's not terribly flattering. I don't want to get a job at McDonald's, but if I did get a job at McDonald's in Toronto, um, to do my sort of little American Beauty, I think the dad did that and that. In about um, 50 hours of labor, I would earn what I earn a month on Substack. So, but the whole cannibalization concerns are are wrong for the fundamental reason that basic marketing says there are different segments of customers. Some customers are far more price sensitive and they don't want to subscribe. They just want to read one off, or they want to see a bundled solution. There are other solutions, but the main point here I'm trying to make is that to offer other revenue streams for writers and for Substack does not mean that they're going to cannibalize their subscriber model. Another big problem with Substack is the limited brand awareness. Maybe my friends are all illiterates. I don't know. Maybe you travel in very well educated circles that I do not. But most people, when I say and I don't tell a lot of people, I would like to get my own children to read my Substack, um, and to maybe get off the free model. Um, when I say Substack, most of them go, "What's that?" Okay, I'm in Canada. I doubt it's that different in other countries. Substack has not engaged in any broad marketing, and I think that they think that that's sort of organic and cool and true and niche. No, when it comes to digital things, when it comes to everything, there's this called the rule of seven, that people need 7 brand impressions before they make a purchase. And they haven't heard of Substack. They hear people write on it. They think it's some you know uh, just a private blogging service for people to just do their private rants. And I'm sure some do that. But there's also tremendous writing talent on Substack that is nevertheless that's undiscovered. And if Substack would put a little bit of money into broad macro advertising to increase the brand, it would do them a lot of good. But nope, they refuse. You have a situation, Pareto, I guess you call it Pareto principle, which says that the top 20% of customers earn 80% of of the revenue, or deliver 80% of the revenue. I'm not looking at numbers on Substack, but I suspect it's a lot more than that. What I think happens is some of the big brand names on Substack, and a lot of them were major media figures before they came across to Substack, so they have all that brand power. And some of them are just original, like Barry Weiss, original Substack developers who have just created a very good product and done a very good job. And so you get the top tranche skimming off the revenue. And realistically, in Canada, anyways, we're going into a recession. I was just fired from my teaching job, as I was saying, uh, about 8 months ago. And people just can't afford to have 10 subscriptions when they're charging anywhere. I charge $8. People charge $11, $20. Um, People can't have 8 to 10 or 5 subscriptions. They get tapped out, and the ones that they subscribe to are, of course, the big names, and you can't blame them for it. And then for the rest of them, they're willing to sign up for a free subscription, which we're forced to deliver. And to me, free subscribers, it's very hard to move them to paid. And when I look at the number, I realize that a lot of the free subscribers aren't even open the emails and aren't reading. So a free subscriber who never reads isn't much worth. It's a pure vanity, a vanity metric, and it's just complete garbage. And uh, I'm not looking. I'm not looking to get ignored weekly, and that's, I think that the the free model, even if people paid a couple bucks, people put value if they pay for something, and if they don't pay anything for it, even a dollar, they tend to ignore it. Um, Restricted monetization flexibility. Um, what else could Substack be doing besides a subscriber model? They could create an internal currency where you spend so many dollars and you get so many. You get an internal currency, say, 20 stacks or something. Very uncreative name. Um, and you can use that internal currency that you've paid for in Substack to buy individual reads on essays. That when essays come by, I'm sure that when people, I publish quite a bit, 2 to 3 times a week, and I doubt there's anybody who reads everything that I write, even with the audio service. Um, and the fact is that a lot of people just want to read single ones. So why shouldn't they be able to? Why shouldn't writers be able to bundle with other writers and offer some subsidized price with some revenue allocation model that AI figures out, or I don't know. But why aren't there other other models for revenue other than the plain Jane subscription model that all we can do is adjust the price? And yes, there's free trials, but everybody does free trials, and it's just not very creative, and it's not very effective. And I don't know, probably some of you have some other ideas uh, how Substack could monetize. I realize they don't want to become another social media that's just run by advertising, and essentially you're just um, you're you're just mining for attention, and when that happens, the product is driven by attention. It's not driven by quality and writing, which is what Substack doesn't want. They want to become pure, focused on writing, and that's a good thing. But there's a lot of space between TikTok and Substack. And Substack doesn't seem to realize that. And they're being very, very stubborn. And I'm not talking about advanced marketing here. Segmentation is what you learn in class 3 or 4 of marketing. And the other thing is they're just very resistant. This shows their weakness. They're very resistant to gathering information from their writers and readers. Why? I think it's because they don't want to listen. They think they know better. And it's sad that there's so much creativity and brain power and ideas circulating on Substack that could really, really help them improve themselves. I've seen a couple emails, but I've seen no broad surveys. They could be dropping surveys into for readers and writers, and they could be gathering information. They choose not to. Some other problems. For whatever reason, Substack has decided not to be discoverable. Google searches, and about um, uh, most searching is directed searching. It's not just putting random words in and seeing what comes up and then chasing it down the Google list. Um, but nevertheless, some people do topical searches in Google or through new AI, and there's all these incredible resources on Substack, probably some of the best writing going on, but it's not discoverable. You can't find it. because Substack has chosen not to index their content with Google and with AI and open AI and all, and probably companies I don't know are too stupid to think of right now. But it's so unnecessary. And even within the Substack, the the indexing is horrible. It's terrible. It's amateur, and they do little things like, it was funny. They offered some clipping service where you could add clips of videos, and that was their big innovation. So they're not doing they're not doing the basics. Sorry, I'm off to get my two dogs, which I drove from the room for excessive barking. Okay, let's see if that can capture. Okay, you can't see my dogs, I guess, because the camera's not picking them up. But that's another problem with Substack. And I talked about really opaque marketing function, no clear marketing strategy. And the Substack is losing money. At the end of the day, they're losing money. And just to wrap it up, this is an own goal. This is a self-inflicted injury. It's so unnecessary, and their resistance to ideas from their readership and their writership is uh, at the core of it. And uh, I'm not going to start a revolution here. Probably four people will watch this video. Um, but I just really wish that somehow the powers that be at Substack, and I'm not going to say the marketing geniuses because they're not very smart. They don't seem to have taken first year marketing, and if that insults them, I'm sorry. Sometimes the truth stings a little bit, but um, they're they're leaving so much money on the table, and I think the idea that Substack could revive reading, even for people who don't want to buy books, could could revive reading in the West or wherever Substack lands, is a wonderful thing. Um, we're dumbing down as a culture because we don't read. When we dumb down as a culture, we become the prey of demagogues. And we've got a few, certainly in Canada, I would consider our prime minister a demagogue. And I won't go in talking about Trump. It could be a long talk. But it's so unnecessary and it's so shocking in this difficult business environment that Substack is leaving so much money on the table. And it's unnecessary. I've written a paper on here, which is in notes. Hopefully, it moves a little bit. I'm not delusional about starting some revolution or Substack actually listening to me. But if I don't try, failure's guaranteed. So this is my effort. If you have thoughts, opinions, comments, or if you want to throw profanities at me, give her. I did post this on notes.